It's not that. The reason I want a divorce is not because of the quality of the relationship. It damn sure ain't because of the service, because that's bomb. I want a divorce because it's too damn easy. And yeah, I get anything I want whenever I want it. Don't matter how much. But that don't mean the devil ain't busy. So I'm getting out. And I don't care about everything I've invested in the time, and I don't care about all that. I care about my sanity. I care about my pockets. I care about not messing everything up that me and this. I care about not destroying what we worked for just because I don't have self-control. Well, I got self-control. It's just that I haven't been practicing it. It's a choice. And now I'm making a different choice. I'm divorcing TikTok shop just like Walmart and Target. I'm tired of this mess. Every time I turn around, a red and black and white bag at my house. Now they tricking me. Some of them sending just all white bags with regular labels. The devil is a liar. I'm gonna take the whole damn app off my phone. I'm not playing with them. They're gonna miss me. I love y'all. Be well.
All right, I love that. So just to clear it up, she's not getting a divorce. She's actually using that kind of as an analogy. In fact, I actually did one of her videos earlier, and she was talking about how great marriage is and how a lot of women need to really step up in order to make marriage really great, because I think she talks primarily to women. So why am I going over this video? Well, what she did was she listed a lot of the reasons why a lot of women lean towards divorce and say that divorce is okay. And so I think from that perspective, it's worth talking about. Well, the first thing I will tell you, even though I am divorced myself, is that divorce is rarely a good idea. Rarely. Which basically means that, to me, if we had about 1 or 2% of the population that got divorced every year, I would be like, okay, well, that makes sense. But as you start to move deeper and deeper, there's not really that many reasons. And I even have to say for myself, if I could go back and talk to my younger self and explain some things to my younger self, I would probably still be married. And I say that openly and honestly, to you all, because what I do is I recognize now, kind of like what she said, is if you give the devil an inch, he'll take 1,000 miles. And this is one of those things that people rarely talk about when it comes to divorce. See, divorce generally doesn't start at what a lot of people want to blame on. See, our internet is very good at putting the blame on the wrong thing. See, again, especially for, this is going to be more of a spiritual talk here. So, those that aren't as Christian or spiritual, you just have to deal with it. Well, here's the whole thing. When the devil attacks, he doesn't generally attack what gets blamed, if that makes sense. Like, I'll give you an example, and this is actually a true situation. About 2 years ago, I was in a car accident, and I ended up totaling my car. I hit this lady and, totaled her car. And I'm still actually dealing with some legal stuff based off of it. But believe it or not, there was a third car. And it was really the third car that caused the accident. Because the third car was basically in my view. I couldn't see beyond that car. And, that car moved out of the way and did an illegal turn. And because of that, I saw automatically this other car in front of me. So now I'm trying to swerve and all this other kind of stuff. And boom, boom, bam, the accident. But the third car got away. And the blame ended up on me. Now, part of my own blame is I was probably a little bit too close to that third car. And while I wasn't really speeding, maybe I could have given myself just a little bit more room and just been a little bit more cautious. But you know how that is, 2020, we always look back at life and we say all the things that we could have done better. The point that I'm trying to make here is a lot of times what gets the blame is not really what caused the accident. And that is basically generally how divorce works. See, what happens is you have a little bit of something that causes trust to start to fall apart. Or you have one, which is one of the big things, I believe, depression. Depression affects, I would probably say, almost everybody watching me right now is probably dealing with a teeny tiny bit of depression. The Bible talks about how, the spirit, of somebody, who can basically protect it when it doesn't get what it wants. And it talks about that in Proverbs. And as you guys know, I always encourage you to read Proverbs and I encourage you to read Matthew. And one of the things about this is you have to understand that as we go through life, even something as small as a bottle of water, if I want a bottle of water and I'm dreaming about a bottle of water and I really want this bottle of water, that can cause depression. And this happens to us as we go through life. A lot of the people out there that are women, they want to be married, they want to have children by now. They had already planned in their head that they were going to get married at 28, that by 30 they were going to have their first child, by 32 they were going to have their second child, that their husband was going to be loving and kind, that he was going to make this money and they were going to live in the suburbs and all this other kind of stuff, right? But the problem is now they're 32, none of that's happened. And because that was their dream, now it causes depression. And it just causes a little bit of depression, just a teeny tiny bit. Or somebody might be married, a man might be married, and he might have wanted to start a food truck business. And as he's going about, trying to start his food truck business, he has 3 children and the children need food and they need clothes. And his wife, maybe she got sick or something, so she couldn't work for a year. And so now, they're underwater with money. And even though he has all this love around him and he can pay all his bills, he just doesn't have enough money to really go and have that food truck and do his dream. So now it's a little bit of depression. And what happens is, as you get depressed, you start to become less of the person that you were before. You're not as happy. You're not as joyful. You don't talk as much. You don't share as much. And you're basically vulnerable to things that you feel could fill, F-I-L-L, this void within you. Right? So now you're dealing with this situation, and then you might know to tell your partner. You might not know to tell your partner. But now you're in a situation where things just aren't what you wanted out of life. And even though you have all this good around you, you're still seeking the little bit that you do not have. And see, when you do that, you've allowed the devil to get in. Now you've given him an inch. Or you could be in a situation where it literally could be straight up about money. It could be where, you guys just don't have enough. Maybe one person is spending way too much. But instead of confronting them in a healthy way, you're now yelling and screaming at them, or you're just trying to ignore it. Right? Or you could be one of these people that allow everybody to talk to you. So now all your single friends are trying to tell you how to run your marriage, even though all of them single. You should not listen. I'm just letting the men and women know, because people usually put this on women, but I'm going to put it on the men as well. If all your friends are single, you don't need to listen to none of them. In fact, one of the things that I'm constantly trying to tell you guys is get around married people. Even in the comments, you guys are going to see what? Books about marriage, TV shows about marriage. Those that have hung out with me for a long time on this channel know that what do I always talk about? You need to be in the environment, in the energy of what you want, because your energy goes before you. So if you want marriage, if you want relationship, you need to be studying marriage and relationship. And you can't get around single people who are not on that same path, because all they're going to do is keep you single. The main way to stay single is to be around single people and listen to all their single ways. And this is again why I still don't understand why so many single women love to be in groups with just single women. I do not understand that. Christian Singles Connect CSC, where I'm one of the lead organizers, we are co-ed. We listen to men, we listen to women. How dare we just listen to one side? If I get a whole lot of men together, at first it'll start off good, but sooner or later it's just going to get into stereotypes and all these other problems. And it's not going to be giving any solutions. But when, as a man, if I present something to a group of women, those women can think about it and then they can give me back possible solutions, and then vice versa. And so that is how we work information to try to get the best outcome. All right. So dealing with divorce, dealing with accountability. She has another thing up talking about accountability. One of the things that I've noticed is, because people love to put accountability on women. And I do think that there's something about it because men generally are the leaders. If you are walking in your masculinity and you actually are with a woman who is somewhat submissive, then generally that submissive woman may not want to take accountability. And this can be a problem for a lot of men. But one of the things that women have to understand is when you take accountability, it does not mean that the person doesn't love you anymore. It just means that it's driving them crazy. It's like, you know, somebody telling you that the grass is orange and you're looking at it, you're like, it's green. Just tell me it's green. Just tell me you know that it's green so I won't think you're going crazy. And that's how it feels to men when a lot of women don't take accountability. But I'm going to be real with you and say that there are a lot of men that have a hard time taking accountability. They just kind of navigate it a little bit different. And it's a lot of men that have a hard time saying that they're sorry. You know, that, hey, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And actually meaning it, because sorry means that you're changing your behavior. You're not going down and doing the same thing again. Right? So I love the fact that she did this. I love the fact that it came out and it's kind of funny. And, you know, all her people kind of were going crazy about it. So it's interesting. But it's funny because as you start to read the comments, you got a lot of people that, you know, are just going into left field off the comments, even though they didn't quite get it. You know, one of the things is, you know, you got somebody saying, you know, we black men, you know, don't save them. It's your best interest to divorce and stay single. No one will lose any sleep. And again, there's somebody that's against marriage. And then you have somebody else that's 100% bought into it. And other people are just laughing because they're 100% getting it, saying that she is basically divorcing TikTok and Amazon and different things like that. And then you have all these other people that are coming in with a different type of energy. But it's funny because you do have people on there that are just 100% about get the divorce, get the divorce, get the divorce. And the thing I'm going to encourage you, if you want to divorce proof, you know, your marriage, and I've actually thought about doing a divorce series. I've just been honestly, you know, really thinking about it and trying to figure out when I want to drop it. If you want to divorce proof your marriage, the very first thing I would encourage you to do is to pick well. That's the first thing. You got to pick well. I mean, that's one thing you know you can never get around. The next thing is every other year or every 3 years at maximum, do some kind of marriage class / course / book series / something at your church, you know, some kind of seminar together. You know, I would say every other year, but definitely never allow more than 3 years to go by. Always keep communication open and always do fun things with your spouse. Remember, always keep things in order. It's really important. I'll put the order up on the screen, but it's always important, especially for women, to keep the order. Because a lot of women see their children as giving them unconditional love. And they believe that these children are going to love me forever. Right? And what they do is they'll pull their love away from their husband and then they give it to the children. But it doesn't belong to the children. It belongs to the husband. And this is something that God talks about. Okay, this is actually in the Bible, a couple of places. A woman should never remove, her love for her husband, and give it to anyone else. And so what people have to do is they have to remember the order of things. They have to continue to line up. And if you know that you are a person that battles with this, and that's why I'm always telling you guys, you kind of have to know yourself a little bit, because if you battle with certain things, you need to be in that position and come in and say, okay, I'm ready for this battle. I know where my problems are, so let me deal with it. Like one of the things that I've talked about a lot on this channel is that I tend to be very busy. You know, you got to think about it. I have a full-time job right now as y'all are watching this. And so I'll get up on a Saturday morning. It's actually Saturday. And I will make 5, 6, 7, 10 videos. You know, sometimes I'll change my clothes. I'm just being honest. So I'm trying to make these videos. I'm trying to put out these videos. And that takes a lot of energy, a lot of work. And because of that, I know that I'm a workaholic. I know it. I don't have a problem with it. Okay. But I know that when I am in a relationship, I have to slow it down. Okay. I have to make sure that I am spending time with whatever woman it is out there. And this is one of those things where I have to be in control of it, because see, some guys will say things like, "Oh, I've been busy, blah 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 blah," and then they feed this to the woman, and then the woman is like, "Oh, this dude's a player. Oh, this dude is this, and this dude's a that." But with me, it's real, because I'm literally that busy, and I've actually had women to come out and hang out with me like all day, and they like, "Dang, you always moving around, you always," and I'm like, "Yeah," I was like, "I'm not lying to you." And then they see all the things that I do, like I say, at CSC, at my job, and then I also do media as my side hustle. So I really got like 3 side hustles plus a 9-to-5 job. And each one of my side hustles could, if it blew up, actually take care of me. And that's a lot of work. But I have to, make sure that I am taking time to talk to women, to let them know what's going on, and to let them know that, hey, I am interested in this relationship, but here are, the factors. But you have to have that open communication. And when I was married, what I would do is I would literally give my ex-wife, like 2 days. 2 days out of the week were 100% hers. I was not going to do any work. I was going to do my best not to think about doing any work, which is very hard for me. And I was just going, to spend that time with her. And she really appreciated the fact that I did that. And see, and that's why I say you have to kind of know yourself. And there's people out here that know that they're very giving people. There are people out here that honestly, they know they're selfish. They know they're selfish. You have people out here that love to travel. You have people out here that love to party. You have people out here, that, I don't know, they just like to spend money. But all these things is, if you don't know who you are, it makes it very difficult to be in a relationship. Because like, say, for instance, if I'm dealing with a woman who loves to travel, and I'm not a big travel person, to be honest with you, I don't mind traveling, but I don't have to go on 20, trips a year. But if I run into somebody who likes to travel and I like them enough, to date them, I know going in that I have to participate in their travel. And if they know that they like to travel, they know, okay, that the whole world don't like to travel like them. And so they know if they normally do 6 trips a year, then once they get with me, it might get dropped down to 4 or maybe even 3, because I don't like to travel like that. So it's something for them to understand and figure out. But what happens a lot of times is because, we're out here and we're single for so long, and then remember our bubbles. And generally our bubbles include people who think like us. But your person might not necessarily be exactly like, the people in your bubble. Because one of the things that I've learned about your person is that sometimes your person is filling in gaps of your own personality. Right? So for me, I might end up with a woman who likes to travel because I don't really travel that much. So now I have to give up something. She has to give up something. And we both need to be happy about it. Because if we're not, what happens? We give the devil an inch. And he uses that wedge of difference between us and starts telling her, oh, remember, when you didn't have him, you used to go on 10 trips a year, 12 trips a year. If we got rid of him now, we could do that again. And then he'll be telling me, you don't need to be going on all these trips, wasting all this money. Man, that girl ain't about nothing. Get rid of her and you can have all your money back. So we have to remember that we have this enemy that is doing this. And so in order to divorce-proof your marriage, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you're giving up. What you're giving up in order to be married. And you have to be happy about it and then be excited about the gift of what you're getting for the price. Because you're always going to have to give up something. And that's one of the things that I'm always telling you guys. You're probably going to get about 65% of what you want in your person. And another 15% you guys are going to have to work on. But then there is this other side where you have to realize it's just like anything in life. Everything in life has a cost. Everything. Even friendship has a cost. If you don't call your best friend for 2 or 3 years, they may no longer be your best friend. If you don't go to work, they're not going to pay you. If you don't pay your rent, you're going to get kicked out. If you don't feed your pet, they're going to die. Every single thing has a cost. Everything. And so when you get married, there is a cost. And it's a cost in some of the things that you want to do. But you have to remember that giving up is worth it with the right person. And I always got to say the right person. That's why I'm always saying pick well. But anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.